Done. NFL Week 10 in the books, man. Um, you had some interesting storylines. I'm just gonna start out with this real quick. Lee, you always you went down in flames again, man. You decided you wanted to pick the Falcons, and this was
Okay.
the early game on Sunday. Falcons, going into, they were in Spain, I think they were, and Falcons fashion, looking good, by the way. I was like, wow. It's like this the Falcons. What's going on? Yeah, they always do it. They always do it to
Well,
you.
but Link, but you say it went down in flames.
You know what I'm saying.
You say it went down in
They
flames.
just
Yeah, yeah.
they
That was a close game, man.
it was a
That
close
was a close
game,
game.
but
All right.
they always look. You cannot bet on the Falcons, man. It don't matter.
Hmm.
This actually was a Falcons team. This is what more people expected. Like the first 4 quarters, the first 3.5 quarters. This is what people expected from the Falcons. Who they could be, but they can't sustain it. They can't keep it up. They just can't keep that going. And so, of course, in overtime, and didn't they get the ball? Yes, they had the ball first, and
Yeah.
couldn't do anything with it. Couldn't do anything. And then the defense breaks down in overtime, and they lose the game in Falcons fashion, man. So Falcons go down 25-31. That's just, hey, what can you say about the Falcons?
So, everyone here in Atlanta, they like the fans, they're up in arms, and rightfully so, right? You have TikTok videos, Instagram videos, even Facebook videos, people throwing their jerseys in the trash. You know, F the Falcons this and Falcons don't know what they doing that. And what the consensus is, and I do agree with this, is that they're still not using Bijan Robinson the right way. Okay. Um, they're doing this thing with Bijan and Algier now where they're when they get inside the 20, they put Algier in and I guess they're trying to, I don't know, preserve Bijan. I don't know what for. I don't know why. Um, you at the end of the game, you have Jonathan Taylor. He rips off an 83-yard run, and then when the Falcons get the ball back for that the entire series, no Bijan Robinson. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand the logic. There's no real explanation as to why they're doing it. He doesn't seem like he's hurt. Uh, I don't see any scheme that they're running that he cannot fit in or execute himself. It's almost as if they feel like they're smarter than they are, and it's just not playing out the way that they think it should play out. And anyone with any sort of football logic wouldn't want this to play out this way anyway. They would expect Bijan to be in there for 90% of the snaps. Algier could come in to spell him for a play or two, maybe pound it in if they're at the 1 yard line, like at the goal line. But other than that, it should be Bijan Robinson all day. So it just feels as if they're leaving big plays on the table by minimizing and mitigating the amount of play touches that they're giving Bijan. I understand he had about 20 touches. It's still not enough. Obviously, it's not enough. You only got 3 wins. He should be the primary focus of the offense, and he's not. So until they fix that or get that corrected, I don't see. I think at this point, Raheem, his seat is he's trending very close to the Dable, you know, category he's probably not going to make it if he continues on this trajectory. But outside of him, the offensive coordinator, he needs to go. He needs to go. They need to fix this on the offensive side. The defense, I still think the defense is fine. It's just that when they are on the field for as long as they are, they get gassed. And of course, you're gonna end up giving plays late in the game. You're putting the defense in bad situations. So they got to fix the offense.
Yeah.
to that point, Lee, right? Jonathan Taylor gets 32 carries, on the road in Berlin. They get a ball to that man 32 times, right? And for 244, but you take away that 83-yard run, it's a decent clip, but not that different than what Bijan was doing. It's just they ain't feeding Bijan the ball. And I think too many of these OCs get caught up in the quarterback should be the focus. They forget about the 70s and the 80s. And of course, nowadays with these defenses being so light because they're so predicated to stop the pass, the teams that try to run the ball do an even better job than typical. The Indianapolises, the Philadelphias, the Detroits, because a lot of these defenses aren't geared to stop the run. And when you got a guy like this who can hit the home run ball, keep on feeding him, right? But they're going to have Michael Penix going 12 for 28. Like it's the difference if Penix was like 25 for 32 and he was just humming, right? But hey, we got to feed the hot hand. But like the best player on your offense, I really like Michael Penix as a quarterback. I hope he does well in the league. Yeah. But Bijan is the straw to stir that drink, right? Yeah. So you got to get the ball to Bijan Robinson. So yeah. I was surprised the Atlanta Falcons made it as close as they did, but I'm also not surprised it ended the way that it ended, right? So it's sort of like the Atlanta Falcons that you kind of hope to see was there for some of the game, and then the Falcons you don't like to see showed up at the very end just to remind you, hey, it's us.
Yeah, we still here.
We still yeah.
So yeah, that's us. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's enough on the Falcons because I know Atlanta had enough of them already.
No, we got some more Falcons to talk about come Thursday though. I ain't giving up.
You're not getting.
I ain't giving up.
Okay. We'll see. Yeah. All right. So, I want to know how you guys feel about Dylan Gabriel, in Cleveland, and the coaching situation there in Cleveland, and what's going on. So, I think we had talked about this. Who's going to tank the most? Who's we taking the turns on this one? Who's going to do what? New York Jets win the game 27-20. I'm not impressed with Dylan Gabriel. I early on I thought, he could have, I was like, okay, yeah, definitely, give him the shot, let him run with it and go. But I mean, Justin Fields threw for 54 yards. And they win the game. I don't know what to say, man. But anyway, look, New York Jets come up two in a row, man. New York Jets on a roll. So I guess they trying to make a run, trying to do a little something. But I don't know, man. This game was one of those. I can't say too much about this.
So there's certain teams that seem to be fighting for the bottom, right? And this is one of those matchups like, well, who wants it less, right? And somehow, despite yes, Herm Edwards, you play to win the game, but 6 for 11 for 54, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But the Jets get a kickoff return for a touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown, and so the special teams snatches victory from the jaws of defeat and helps the New York Jets win this game without Sauce and without Williams, remember, right? So they went in with a 54-yard passing quarterback without 2 of their stalwarts on defense against the Cleveland Browns. Now, don't forget, the Cleveland Browns got a 2-time Coach of the Year as their head coach. So
I don't know.
we've seen what our Coach of the Year moniker gets some guys. They will. But I don't. You should, with a really good defense that holds a quarterback to 54 yards passing, win a game even if it's on the road. And so somehow they don't. And it's another week for Cleveland. These two teams are now 2-7. I guess Cleveland, because of the loss, now is closer to number 1. They get the tiebreaker because they lost to the Jets, so they would pick before the Jets if they end up at the same record. So congratulations, Cleveland. So
Yeah, I mean, what the Jets got to do, man? They did everything they could to tank this game. They did everything humanly possible to lose this game. Like you said, got rid of Sauce, right? Got rid of their linemen. Um, Threw the ball only 11 times. 11 times. And if it wasn't for the doggone special teams, they would have got away with it. Right? But this is sad. Dylan Gabriel played well. He had a good game. I mean, he had, he only threw for 100 and some odd yards. But thank you. All right, go to bed. That was my boy. He only threw for what was it? 167 yards.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He took care of the ball. Okay. He is a rookie. He's not, we don't expect him to just come in and light it up, especially every game, but he did what he had to do to make sure that the Browns do not get that number 1 pick. And he did a good job of doing that. But going back to the Jets, I think I wouldn't be surprised. Who was the returner?
Nwangu.
Nwangu?
Kiki Nwangu, yeah. Used
I
to
wouldn't
be
have-
with the Vikings. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
And then Isaiah Williams was the punt returner.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those guys get cut. One of those guys. Either that or
They
they ain't
get
returning next game.
They getting
They ain't
benched.
returning next game. They getting put on ice.
You're too good. You're too good.
You messing up.
You
Messing
read the
up
memo.
the plan. You messed up the plan. We can't be having this. We can't be having this. So, it was the toilet bowl, and it lacked any sort of offensive firepower as expected. But kudos to the Jets, I guess. Aaron Glenn, he got a second win, and I think Aaron Glenn, he has the vote of confidence from the owner, and the owner said as much that he doesn't put any of this on him, and I think that's code for, that we're redshirting this first season. We understand it's gonna be garbage. We're not gonna do well. We're gonna stack our chips, and we're gonna try to, reinforce the team come the draft, and then let's see what happens next year. So I think they're just playing for the next year right now.
Yeah. Well, kudos to Aaron Glenn on the second win, man. In this next game, New Orleans Saints 17, Carolina Panthers 7. Who are these guys? Because, Carolina, is so unpredictable with this team. Because, they look good, then they don't look good. I mean, it's like from week to week. It's week, and I guess that's reflective of their record. They're 5-5, right? They go back and forth and really don't know who they are yet. And I guess it's growing pains. And I don't know. Again, Tyler Shook had 282 yards, 19 for 27, 2 touchdowns. Don't look like he had any interceptions. But okay, so the New Orleans Saints, man. I mean, but okay. I'll just throw this out again. This was a division game, so this is a division game, and so I just throw this out and chalk it up to that. These teams know each other, and you never know how they're gonna play in these games. So I just give it to the New Orleans Saints in winning this game, man.
New Orleans, what are y'all doing? Like, I don't want to. Like, I'm mad at the Jets, and I'm even more upset at the Saints. You just traded Raheed Shaheed, right? You tear the weapon away. You on the road against a team that had an above 500 record. You could make it competitive. You ain't gotta. You trying to get the number one pick to get a left tackle or a shutdown corner or an edge rusher? You think you got the quarterback now? You can go and win another game and jeopardize that number one pick? Like, what's going on, guys? Eh, jokes aside, 19 for 27, 32 touchdowns. Glad Shug had a good game. I think they're trying to figure out if he actually is going to be their guy or not, right? The Giants believe it's Dart. I think New Orleans is trying to figure out if he's going to be the dude or not to work with Kellen Moore. But, for them to get on the road, division opponent, beats Carolina. Hats off to them, but it's like these teams don't seem to know how to tank even if they wanted to. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, we got a couple more of these two coming up, right? But you both talk about it, the divisional matchups. And I think this division more than any other division, you take any one of those four teams and you put them against each other, you don't know what's gonna happen. Right? Falcons, Carolina, Saints, and the Bucks. Like it doesn't matter who's on top when they're playing each other. Those four teams, anything can happen. And in this situation, what you have is that you had a situation where the Saints came in and they just sold out against the run. They were not going to let Rico Dowdles beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And they put the emphasis on Bryce Young to win the game. He couldn't do it. And you got the young rookie wide receiver, Tedro McMillan. He's a tall target, possession receiver, good hands, but the tape on him coming out was he lacked that separation, and it shows. He can run the routes, he can catch the ball, but the ball is dead right where he catches it. There's no yak with him. There's no yards after the catch. And they don't have anyone on the perimeter that can stretch the defense and or, make the extra play after the reception to take it the distance. So when you have a stale passing offense like that, and you have a defense that, again, is sold out against the run, and they're stopping that your premier running back, you're going to get a situation like this. So kudos to the Saints. If in fact they do see Shuck as their potential franchise quarterback, which it's kind of trending that way, then they don't really need the number one pick unless they want to use it for collateral, right? To multiply and make some moves and add some additional picks in their in their pockets. But outside of that, they just need a tackle. And this draft coming up, they're gonna have their choice of some pretty good tackles come even to the late part of the first round, which they're not gonna make it to the late part of the first round. So they should be in pretty good position regardless.
Yeah. Well, look like Kellen Moore is gonna, we'll see. I'm not sold on Tyler Shook, but hey, stranger things have happened. In this next game, this was an exciting game, man. New England Patriots, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was looking at this game. This was a really, really exciting game, man. This, New England, they both scored in every single quarter. It was it was a slugfest. Trevion Henderson, was doing his thing, was running the ball. New England Patriots just continue to roll, man. Just continue to roll. And I know Baker Mayfield, they were trying to get the comeback magic, trying to make something happen at the end, but fell short. But man, this is I still don't know. And I want to hear from you guys on this. I still don't know if the New England Patriots, are they really for real? Are the New England Patriots for real? I'm not sure yet, but they I mean, it was a really exciting game. I like to watch. I like watching this game. Drake May was solid. But Trevion Henderson really, I think this was like a really breakout game for him, because I don't think he had, before this he was okay, but this was a big game. I'm trying to see how many yards, 147 yards, 14 carries, 147 yards, 10.5 average, and 2 TDs. That's legit. So he was doing his thing, man. But yeah, I wanted what you guys think about New England. If they're for real or not. But they look really good.
So I don't know if New England is real, but they're real enough. And let me explain what I mean. So this was the Brady Bowl, right? And it ended up being a really great game. And there is an outside chance that this could actually be a Super Bowl matchup. Outside chance. I'm not putting money on it, but outside chance. I find it amazing that the best coaching disciple from the Bill Belichick tree never coached under Bill Belichick, right? Vrabel being a player, then goes off and does a great job in Tennessee, leaves, comes in, and this team is playing very classic Bill Belichick New England Patriots football. People do their job. If the running game's going to work, the running game takes over. If they got to pass the ball, the passing game takes over. They do whatever needs to be done. You get to superstar 1 week. You don't hear from the person the next week. And they do just enough to win, right? The sum being greater than the total of the parts, right? Because, I mean, Travion Henderson, Mac Hollins, Kyle Williams, an older Stephon Diggs, like outside of Drake May, there's no one in the skill positions where you're like, I would trade that dude, someone on my team for someone on that team. But they 8-2, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's clearly in the next couple of years they're going to try to get better weapons, but they're playing really good team football right now, and you have to take them legitimately, right? I don't think they're going to blow anybody away in the playoffs should they make the playoffs, and it looks like they're going to make the playoffs. But I think they can beat any team in the AFC. Going into the playoffs, right? So, but yeah, so, but no, really good matchup. Ibuka did what he does as the number one. Baker is doing what he's doing in Tampa Bay. They're 6-3, and they're sort of one of those like they beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and then there's like the against a really good competition, like so there's a little bit of doubt with Tampa, but these are two teams that legitimately could find themselves facing each other in early February. So
yeah, we got to take these teams right now. I mean, we're a little bit we're just past the halfway mark, right, of the season, and we're asking if these teams are real. You got to look at it on a division by division basis. I could look at the Patriots and I can say right now they look realer than the Bills. Right? They look realer than the Bills to me. This past week what the Bills went through, even that aside, I'm not even counting what happened to them this past Sunday. I'm just looking at how they played up until this point and their situation on offense, and I'm looking at the Patriots, and Doc called it right. The way that I see it, there's no gimmick. They're not gimmicky, right? With their style, everything is hat on a hat. We're going to put our guys out there, and we're going to dominate you. We're going to be the more aggressive team. We're going to be the more technically sound team. We're going to execute. We have a quarterback that can distribute the ball, minimize mistakes, and he will go ahead, and if you show that you're out of place, he's going to take advantage of that, and he's going to make you pay. And there's no one, none of his weapons, he has no all pros right now, okay, at receiver. Every week there's a different running back making a play. Last week, this week it was Henderson. Beginning of the season it was Stevenson, right? So they have this rotating carousel of running backs that are all contributing at the right times on any given week. And Drake May is looking like, he's a franchise guy. Coaching matters, and we talked about coaching as well. Vrabel comes in, he brings in the stability, But again, we can't discount Josh McDaniel and his contributions to the offensive side. They have a mastermind as an offensive coordinator. He sucks as a head coach. He's horrible as a head coach, but he's a good offensive coordinator, and he's coaching up Drake May and that offense looks efficient. And once you have that, these are now the building blocks to making a really, really good team. This is Drake May's second season. They're 8-2, and they don't look as if they're slowing down. Right? They're just going to keep getting better. So yeah, it's as real as it gets. Mm-hmm. Right? They're not a top 3 team, but they're definitely a playoff team. And next year, I feel like they're going to just continue to get better.
Yeah. Yeah, good point, man. Solid there. Doc, so Baltimore 27, your Minnesota Vikings 19. Jump in on this, man.
What you gonna say? I'm sorry about the false start. I'm sorry about the false start.
No. Check this out. I know I had picked Baltimore to win this game. However, looking at this game, you guys had the opportunity to win this game easily, man. Easily, you guys had the opportunity to win this game. I was looking at the game, and I found myself cheering for you guys. I was like, oh my! I say they could win this game. They right here. And so, man, just a couple of pieces, but I wanted to hear from you on this game, man, on what your thoughts were with but I mean, look, it looks like it was right there.
So I was having a little tongue in cheek with the 8 false starts we had during the game at home, which is unacceptable.
Yeah,
right?
Unbelievable.
So I am going to talk trying to make lemonade and banana bread out of the lemons and overripe bananas that game was. Okay? We had 8 false starts, and we had 3 turnovers, right? Two by J.J. McCarthy, 1 by Aaron Jones, and we still had a chance to win that game, right? Like, I don't want to say we gave it away because Baltimore played a pretty good game, right? But there was a lot of mistakes we made. We made a lot of mistakes, right? And so, hey, I the jury's still out on McCarthy. He's not a dud. He had some great throws. I wish he was a little more efficient that last drive with us trying to get that last score to try to, tie it up. He was taking a little bit too long, getting the team huddled, getting the team back with the line of scrimmage to get plays off. He still needs some time to figure things out. The game is slowing down for him, which is good. It hasn't slowed down fully, but it's slowing down for him, which is good. But yeah, man, it's one of those things where you're like, if only, and I can't explain the 8 false starts. Like, if it was his first game, maybe they ain't used to his cadence or something, but you can't even use that. And look, like, and this is a much broader topic, because I keep on hearing people crying about the other team simulating the snap or clapping their hands or saying something. Like, if that's the case, y'all got to let the refs know, right? But you can't be using that when it's 8. So, but yeah, I mean, hats off to Baltimore. They did what they needed to do. So they were up ahead. We tried to come back, couldn't come back in time, but we gotta shore up the mistakes. When Minnesota has played well over the last 3 to 4 years, we have been an efficient, mistake-free football team. Like, that's just what we've done under O'Connell pretty much since he's been there. And to have 3 turnovers and 8 false starts, we're not. I don't think we've had the kind of weaponry to win those kind of games. So showed again, on Sunday. But yeah, so, but got to give the kid a little bit more time. I'm liking what I'm seeing, but there's still the growth that has to happen. And we made the decision to move on from Sam Darnold. We made the decision to not keep Daniel Jones. Both looking pretty good where they are now. Hindsight is 2020, right? I think from the long term view, I still like the decision we made, but you kind of wondering, what would it be like if, right? Either one of those guys, and McCarthy had another year to sit and learn. But that was the decision they made. I support the decision. I understand it. It's a little tough right now because you're like, oh man, like, is the NFC vulnerable? If only, but we move on and keep on going. So,
hey, better than Carson Wentz.
Oh my God.
Better than Carson Wentz,
Yes.
man.
but like,
I'm serious. That's
why
the
I
truth.
mentioned Daniel Jones
Yeah,
and Sam Darnold.
yeah.
You did not hear CW come out of my mouth.
I had to throw him in there, man. I had to throw him in there. Look, I had to throw Carson in there. But yeah, better than Carson Wentz. Yeah. Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah. This is JJ McCarthy's now. This is what his fourth start, Doc.
Fourth start.
Fourth start, right? So again, to be expected. He's far from polished. He's not going to be polished. It's too early. No one expected him coming out of college to be like pro ready out the gates. He's a project, not really a project, but he's a guy that has an abundance of potential, but you don't want to hinder that by putting him in situations where it starts to damage his psyche. And so there's this sweet balance here of, how do you do this? And the way that it should have worked and what they should have done, they did first by, sitting him for the first season. He had that injury, right? But he sat for the first, right, the knee injury, right? But they sat him for the first season, which was good. Maybe he needed the Aaron Rodgers / Jordan Love treatment where he needed probably to sit for three seasons, maybe. That would have been probably an approach they should have taken.
It works for the Packers,
right? But if you were going to play him this season, you should have made sure that you had a really strong running game. And again, that has been the Achilles heel. I think it's not the quarterback. It's that offensive line and the running game. You guys have not been able to establish a firm line of scrimmage on the offensive side with the run. So you got defenses knowing that you can't run the ball. So they're concentrating on the quarterback, JJ McCarthy, and it just puts him at a huge disadvantage. So maybe this offseason, you guys go pick up a guy, show up the line, and then, you run it again with him, of course, next season, and you get a little bit of a better return on, the time that you're putting into him. But until that running game gets shored up, you can't expect JJ McCarthy, on his first season of starting, with only 4 starts under his belt, to carry this team into some sort of a playoff type of situation.
Lee. And the thing was, I think they acquired through like trades or free agent signings like 2 offensive linemen. It just hasn't worked out.
It hasn't worked out. Right.
And the thing about it is, when you think of what happened last year with Sam Darnold, the running game was a little bit better, but it wasn't as if Aaron Jones was dominating.
Right.
He was just, the offense was just clicking with him at the helm, right?
Yeah, it was.
And so now you have the guy who isn't as experienced, hasn't been through, all the bruises that Sam Darnold has. Like I said, the game's slowing down for him. But to your point, the running game isn't there to support him, right? And so you get the second and longs, the third and longs, obvious passing downs, and that becomes problematic for a young, inexperienced quarterback.
One thing of note too, Doc, is that, we talked about Jackson Dart, and we talked about, Dable putting him in harm's way, running him a little bit too much. And then you have McCarthy, who, in my estimation, is just as athletic as Dart. And it's the exact opposite. And I'm saying to myself, there are situations where he probably should use his legs to help extend a drive, to help get a first down, to help put them in third and short situations. And for whatever reason, he's not. I don't understand what that's about. I don't know if there's some sort of, injury situation still going on with his knee that's causing him to be hesitant. But they're going to need to start putting in some sort of plan where he can use his legs in a safe way, slide, do the Colin Kaepernick thing where you just go straight out, directly out of bounds. But they need him to help get that running game going. And he has the qualities to be able to do that. But that's just not happening right now.
To your point, that last drive, he had like a 26-yard scramble, and he was moving, right? So yeah, he does have that athletic ability, but that was like one of the few times you saw it that game, and you typically think of him, at least this season, as a statue quarterback. So someone's telling him to not run, right?
Right.
And so trying to find that balance where it's not Jackson Dart, every third play, But yeah, I got you.
In the long run, I know you say Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, O'Connell made the right decision. In the long run, we hadn't reached the playoffs yet. When we reach the playoffs, then you'll be happy. Trust me. All right.
No. Like.
I agree. I agree.
No. And so. When the Packers drafted Jordan Love, right, with Aaron Rodgers just coming off his peak, and they spent a first-round pick on his backup, it's like what they doing? Y'all been to the NFC Championship game 2 years in a row, and y'all spent a first-round pick on the backup? Like, y'all sacrificing the short term for the long term, but it plays out, right? And so. Like, hey, if this is the season where it's like, man, I wonder if, but the next 8 seasons, things are awesome, so be it, right? Yeah. It's just that in the moment, you're like, no, you just gotta give it time. Gotta give it time.
Go with it, man. Go with it. Yeah. So, all right. Tyreek Hill, who is that? Who's Tyreek Hill? I don't even know who he is.
Stop it.
Miami Dolphins. 30-13 on the so-called Super Bowl. Buffalo Bills. They don't need Tyreek, man. They don't need Tyreek. They turning this thing around. They turning this around in Miami. They moving. Hey, look. What's his name? What's the running back? A-Chain. What's his name? A-Chain. Okay, yeah. A-Chain. Hey, this dude is balling. He is balling. He was rolling. He is a real bright spot on the Miami Dolphins, man. He's a bright spot on the Miami Dolphins, and I really didn't know that much about him. I didn't know where did he come from. Where did he play in college?
Let me see if I can figure it
out. Because
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Look, I was thoroughly impressed. And this was like one of the first times that I was seeing him play. I mean, I heard about him, seeing highlights and stuff, but I was watching the game, and I was like, this dude is doing some serious stuff. So, yeah, I mean, look, man, Tyreek Hill goes down, Tua throwing interceptions left and right. Give this dude the ball. Just give him the ball. Let him run the ball. This could be another Indianapolis type deal where you just give him the ball. Don't put the ball in the hand of the quarterback. You got a running back who can handle it. Give him the ball and let him do his thing. And that's it. And so if this is the plan for Miami, if they decide they want to go in this direction and do that, they could win a couple more games. I mean, they could win a couple more games because against the Bills, I don't know if it was the Bills or it was Miami. I really don't know. I really don't know if the Bills
are Bills. It was the Bills.
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. It was the Bills. Hey, but look, I was thoroughly enjoying this game. Because every time the pundits always put people in the Super Bowl, this always happens. Don't put me anywhere. I don't want to be anywhere near the Super. I don't even want y'all to say nothing about no Super Bowl. Nothing. Just let them play. So yeah, I was excited to see what the Miami Dolphins did on Sunday, man.
So every so often I get a game wrong, like really wrong. And we talked about divisional games. This is a divisional game. You just never know. But yeah, I wasn't expecting this final score, right? Um, I was shocked that the Dolphins were able to like move the Bills and open up running lanes for Devon Achane. Like the Dolphins have typically kind of been finesse. We gonna get you with the speed. We gonna be finesse. We gonna a little quick. Like they was just moving the Bills defense, and maybe the familiarity because it's a divisional opponent or whatever. Let James Cook was not eaten. 13 carries,
No.
53. So it became Josh Allen having to put the Superman cape on, and he did his best. 28 for 40, 306, but it wasn't enough. Uh, Kudos to the Miami Dolphins because 2 weeks ago that seat was hot. That team looked like they was ready to come apart at the seams, and now you see them in the locker room. They surfing in the they surfing in the laundry
And the
basket.
laundry.
Like they looking like they made the playoffs, right? And so hey, whatever
Disgusting.
it is, whatever come to your favorite deity moment they had, whatever it is. But I think they've got two straight, and I mean, McDaniel almost smiling on the sidelines now. So we'll see what happens next week, right? But yeah, good win for them. Good win for them.
Yeah.
So
They this team 3-7, right? They 3-7,
they 3 and
right? With
7.
this win. What
Yeah.
are they surfing for? What they celebrating? What they why they
Don't do it.
smiling? You know what I'm saying? Like
Ah.
I don't want let me say something. If I was a Dolphins fan, I would be mad. I'd still be hot. I'd be happy with the win, but the reaction and the attitude after the win as if you've done something or you've solved something, that gives me a lot of that's a moment of pause. Like, okay, you know this ain't it, right? This you got to keep working at this. So let's talk about if this is the Dolphins or the Bills, right? Kudos to the Dolphins for making adjustments. I give them that. The defense minus Phillips, they gave him
Yeah.
to that team who keeps stockpiling defenders on that side. I don't get why do GMs talk to Howie? I don't know, right? But anyway, they get rid of their probably like their best front seven guy, and the defense showed up. So I give them a lot of credit there. The Achan thing, the offensive thing, gimmick. So we just talked about the Patriots, and we talked about how they basically hat on a hat, they line their guys up, and then they just they execute. The Dolphins, they had a specific game plan for this specific team, and it worked. Now, if McDaniels is able to do this week in, week out, and find the Achilles heel for each team that he's going to encounter the rest of the season, be able to do this, then fine. But in this situation where they lined up 6 offensive linemen, and for whatever reason, only God knows why, the Bills stayed in a base nickel defense. That's what you're going to get. If you got a nickel defense and you're going up against 6 offensive linemen, an extra lineman is now on the field. They took out the tight end. We don't want the tight end. We're not passing the ball. Okay? An extra lineman, and we're just going to run it run it up the gut, and you put an extra DB instead of a instead of a linebacker on the field, this is what happens. And so the Bills' Achilles heel to me right now is that they lack the ability to make in-game adjustments. And I've noticed, what's the coach's name? The Bills coach, McDermott. He's notorious for this. He does not adjust in game. If they figure the Bills out, if that opponent figures them out, that's it. And then he relies on Josh Allen to bail him out. Josh Allen can't bail out the defense. Okay, so in this situation, again, Dolphins did what they had to do to win this particular game. It was a gimmick. Achan is fast. He's going to be able to, once he gets into that second level, he's going to beat you. Okay, but you're playing a defense where they didn't adjust. Ravens aren't going to do this. Chiefs aren't going to do this. Okay, Patriots aren't going to do this. So we'll see what happens rest of the season. So keep surfing, pop your champagne. You beat the Bills. Let's see what happens next couple of games.
Let these dudes celebrate, man. Let them celebrate. Man.
No,
let them celebrate.
No. For what? For what?
They won the game, man. Let them celebrate, man. Hey,
that
you know what?
Even the best team in the division.
I got you. Check this out. And McDermott is a disciple of Andy Reid. They do not change. They don't make adjustments. They just gonna go with what they going with. That's it. So that's who McDermott is. That's until he decides he's gonna do something different, which I don't see that happening anytime soon. This is what's gonna happen. So yeah. All right, man. This game right here. This what all this game came down to, right? It came down to Jackson Dart taking his team to win this game, gets concussed, Russ comes in, and it all goes and it unravels. And that's it. And the Chicago Bears come back and win the game. If Jackson Dart had stayed in the game, which is I don't know how he would have what Dabo was doing to him, man. It's the young man. I don't even know if he need to come back this season. He just need to just sit out the rest of the season, man. Just let Russ. They are out anyway. They not just let Russ finish this up. Take care of yourself, young man, and then come back next season ready to go. Because I said, oh my gosh, Giants gonna win this game. They're looking good. Then when Jackson Dart went out and I saw Russ come in, I was like, it's over. This is this. That's it. That's it. You know what? Russ. I like Russ, right? I like Russ. But it's time for Sierra to take care of you. It's time for Sierra to take care of you. Let her do her job. Let her take care of you, Russ. It's time for Sierra to do her job, man. Because it ain't working, man. It ain't working. Anyway, hey, look, I even think at this point they just bring in my man. What's his name?
Jamie's
what's that? Yes. Just go bring him in, man. Bring him in because look, this is at that point at this point. Jackson Dart don't play the rest of the season. I mean, I know Daboll is gone, but Jackson Dart just with those concussions. I think he just needs to sit the rest of the season out. But anyway, Chicago Bears win the game, man. So that's how that goes.
I'm going to focus on the Giants because soon as Dart went, offense went. They lost their fourth double-digit lead loss this season, and the next day Daboll gone. Right?
Yeah.
I hope the Mara family is listening to me. You have the perfect excuse because of the concussion to not play Jackson Dart the rest of the season.
Don't play him, man.
And you have the perfect excuse to put in Russell Wilson to lose at least 6 of the next 7 games, get yourself a top 3 pick and do what you want. You could get a left tackle. You could get another pass rusher to complement the other side. You could parlay that to a whole bunch of picks to have a strong young nucleus for Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Don't I love Jameis Winston. He is so much fun with a microphone in front of him, but don't compromise the long-term future of the organization for a few sound bites in November and December. Keep Jameis as the backup, play Russell Wilson. They will organically tank, and you good. You're good. What head coach wouldn't want to come in next season to coach Jackson Dart and like a top 3 pick? With a questionable GM, but that remains to be seen. He's not bad. Shane's not bad.
Yeah.
Because his first round picks tend to hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And some of the second and thirds. But the diamonds in the rough, the other stuff, yeah. But hey, like, there you go. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of things to unpack here, man. So you guys, you talked about the Giants. I'm gonna come back to them. I'll touch on the Bears, right? So, you know, concussion aside with Dart, all of the things that happened, this is another situation with the Bears where they found a way to win. It wasn't pretty, but they're winning. The last couple of seasons, the Bears lose this game. They find ways to lose these games. The last couple of seasons with this coach that they have, and I'm putting all of it on him.
Ben Johnson. Yep.
Right? Ben Johnson, because of him and his attention to detail and his just the way that he processes and tries to prepare his guys, he has them in this situation where they find a way to snatch victory out of the jaws of defeat, right? So they won this game. Caleb is still maturing in the offense, and I'm not going to, I think I've talked about that ad nauseum. The running game is sound with Swift and Monungai. I think they're established there. They have a really strong offensive line. They are now built. They seem to be built for a team that plays in Chicago that is going to endure inclement weather type situations, windy situations, snow, cold, all of these different things, and be able to, eke out a win or battle out a win. And let's not even talk about the defense. They have a really stout and pretty good defense. This is as bad as it's going to get for them, it seems like, at this point. This is them just starting. So they're going to be a problem come the next season and the seasons after if they're continuing to build on top of this. I know, Doc, you don't want to hear that, but that's what I'm seeing. Okay.
Yeah.
So going back to the Giants, I think right now my concern is, we talked about Dable and we talked about him potentially losing his job if he carried on the way that he did, and he ended up doing that. But the Giants themselves, they find themselves in the situation again where they have now a disconnect between a young quarterback and the head coach. Whatever head coach comes in, he didn't select this quarterback. Okay? So whoever they get, is he going to allow Jackson Dart to be Jackson Dart? Dable allowed him to express himself, to, play the way that he wants to play, right? And we saw, the vibe that carried and cascaded over the whole team, right? Galvanizing the team with this young quarterback. Now another coach comes in. What if he doesn't want his quarterback to express himself that way? What if he doesn't want his quarterback to play that way? It's not. I don't see this going in the direction that people think it's going to go. It's going to probably, unless they find someone that is totally sold in on Jackson Dart being his authentic self, it could potentially be a problem. Right? So that aside, I agree with you guys. He probably should sit out the rest of the season. 4 concussions in one season. That doesn't bode well for long-term health and success. He needs time to rest up. We know how that brain, we don't know how that brain works when it comes to these type of injuries. So I would err on the side of caution with it, and then just, work towards getting that high draft pick. But for the Bears, what are they? 6-3?
6-3.
6-3, right?
Impressive.
So yeah, so they are right there, looking at a potential playoff berth,
Yep.
and they don't seem to be an easy out. So
Yeah, for the for the Giants, my hope for them, and you know what could play in Jackson Dart's favor if there's a hot shot coach, young hot shot coach that they bring in that could kind of fit with Jackson Dart's kind of flavor. I don't know who that is, but if there's a hot shot
Josh
coach,
McDaniel. Stop.
Josh, no,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay.
you almost had me with that one. I was like, wait a minute. I would say if they were looking for a young coach to come in, someone who has had some NFL experience and who would let Jackson Dart be Jackson Dart, it would be Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. Okay.
It would be
I
Lane
could see
Kiffin.
that. I could see that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see
that.
that.
Would be the guy. That would be the guy I go after if I was the Giants.
Yeah, I could see that.
That might actually work.
I could definitely see that.
This Lane Kiffin. Yeah.
Yeah. But seeing that the Giants are in the NFC East, they need to go get Herm Edwards or one of them retreads or somebody who some older.
Hello.
Hey, bring Herm out, man. Bring Herm back out of retirement, man. That's who we want over there. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah. I could definitely see Lane Kiffin.
I would say if it wasn't for the messy history of what happened a couple of seasons ago, right? Brian Flores, right, would be a good guy to bring there and complement him with a really good offensive coordinator, and I'm gonna keep pounding the desk for this, Robert Sela. Bring Robert Sela in there, right? Another coach that could. Man, stop laughing. Stop laughing, man.
Every time you bring this up, we gotta laugh, man.
Stop laughing, man. Get him away from that team. But that aside, he deserves another chance, and he can bring structure. All he ever needed was a quarterback. That's all he ever needed. And a competent offensive coordinator. That's it.
Yeah.
Would you imagine how the New York media would feast on Robert Saleh being back in New York and winning with the New York Blues instead of the New York Greens? Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be a storyline.
But even with the Brian Flores, there's some history there with him and the Giants after the whole Brian fiasco with the text message.
That is true.
Remember when?
True. Yep.
Right. That sparked the whole controversy and the litigation after that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen. So.
Yeah. I don't think so. But so all right. In this next game, how in the world do the Houston Texans score 26 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win this game against the Jacksonville Jaguars? I always say that I like D'Amico Ryans. I always say that because in the latter part of his career he was an Eagle, and I just like how he played, and I know when I saw that he became the coach a few years ago of Houston, I always like his style. I just like him as a coach, as an individual. And so it was happy. I was so happy to see them win this game. But Davis Mills, I didn't even know who Davis Mills was until you guys last. I didn't even know who Davis Mills was. 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, 26 points in the fourth quarter. And Jacksonville. Anyway, Houston Texans, man. They in the mix. They getting in the mix. They getting getting a little something. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna run away and do anything. But I just like to see that they won the game. And I don't know. Trevor Lawrence. I just don't know what is going on. What is going on in Jacksonville? What is going on in Jacksonville? I mean, it's I don't know. It's just ridiculous to see. But I was happy to see D'Amico Ryans and the Houston Texans win this game, man.
So a few weeks ago, we were having conversations about whether Jacksonville was legitimate or not. And it has borne out that they are not. Right. Now they're 5-4, but I think in this case, more importantly, you can't be up. Was it 26, right? You can't be up 26. And I don't care if the team scored their first touchdown with a second into the fourth quarter. Like, it don't matter. You can't be up that much and lose and expect to be taken as a legitimate team. So, they won some. Jacksonville won against some teams that I don't think Cohen is as good of a coach as I had initially thought based on what they did earlier in the season. Because you can't be having this happen, right? And whether you want to put it on the defense, we put it on the offense, I put it on the head coach to not understand how to speed up the game, how to milk clock with the offense, how to help your defense out so that those 15 minutes expire before you give up that many points, right? So, the last touchdown I think David Mills had, where he had his little scramble and did the dive in the corner of the end zone. They say that man got up to 19.5 miles per hour. I did not realize that dude could run that fast. But suffice it to say, it was a really great win for Houston. Jacksonville is dejected because ain't no help coming. Travis Hunter had surgery and he's gone for the rest of the season. So they don't get that on offense or on defense. And so, we'll see what happens with the Jags the rest of the season. But this a tough one for them to swallow.
Yeah, let the record show if anybody goes back and watch that segment that we were questioning whether they were legit or not, that I had no doubt in my mind that they were not. I was never sold on them. And also,
I'll stand up. It was me. I was pounding the desk for them, and I ain't pounded no more. That's why I brought it up. I am the first to admit, but it's like, oh, yeah, I see it now. My bad. So but to your point,
no. I mean, I've had my fair share of misses, but this team to me, and the way that they were winning too, those were fluky wins, right? Especially the one where I forgot the team they played against. He tripped, got up, and I was like, "Come on,
Kansas City,
come on, yeah, that one." And that's when everyone thought, "Oh, they've arrived." Like, come on, no, but And let the record also show that I wasn't sold on Trevor Lawrence either. I've watched him. I had a lot of hope for him coming out of Clemson. I thought he was going to be a lot better than what he was. I gave him the benefit of the doubt because he went through some really bad head coaches. And I think that he's damaged goods. I think because of the inconsistency at the head coaching position, and some of the you can just call it nothing short of malpractice, the way that they coached him early in his season, that he has now tendencies and quirks that are now part of his DNA that will be hard to get him to undo and to get coached out of. And now you got this guy where he had all this talent, but in his mind, he's just not sure of himself. And you can see it in the way that he's playing, in the hesitancy of his throws, the inaccuracies when he feels like the pocket is collapsing. He gets, happy feet. And I don't know how you rebound from that. But outside of that, with this game, I'm not surprised that they blew the lead. Jacksonville is just, they're not put together the right way. And Cohen, I see his frustration because he wants the offense to execute a certain way, and it's just not. And it starts at the quarterback position. There have been clips with them two going back and forth. Lawrence on the field, Cohen on the sideline. He's pointing, and he's, showing him like, this is what I want you to do. And there was a clip where Lawrence he waved him off, like, get out of here, right? And it didn't materialize. So I don't know. I think this is one of those situations where they probably need to start looking at moving on from Lawrence. And I know that's not a topic no one is really talking about that. But I don't see any coach right now being able to come in and getting Trevor Lawrence to play the way that we thought he could play, unless they get some really, really, really good talent surrounding him.
Yeah.
But kudos to D'Amico Ryans. I'm happy for them. Yeah. They got this win, but we also know these type of wins are not sustainable.
No.
It's not sustainable, right?
Yeah.
So,
question.
Yeah.
If Trevor Lawrence got traded or released, goes to Kansas City as a backup, goes to Philly as a backup, goes to the Rams as a backup, a year, 2 years, and then plays. Do you think that some of those habits, traits are redeemable, or are we talking like David Carr like situation where he's been the deer in here like so much that like it's too late?
I think we're really close to the David Carr situation. Really close. And unless he does go to another team and sits for 2-3 years, right, and goes to AA, right, and figure that out psychologically, I don't think he's going to be able to work his way out of the psychological barrier that he has in front of him right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, these next 3 games went as expected. So this first game, Seattle Seahawks, Arizona Cardinals, it went as expected. It wasn't, anything fancy there. 44-22. I really didn't expect anything else. I expected Seattle to win this game. I know I had Seattle as my number 1 team in our poll, and even though they won this game, I'm starting to wane a little bit on Seattle. I'm starting to wane a little bit on Seattle. There's Seattle right now. I don't great win, but they are reminding me. They are sneakily reminding me of a Green Bay type situation, and I have a sneaky feeling that this is going to flip on its head pretty soon. It's going to come to a head pretty soon with Seattle. So anyway, good win for Seattle. I expected this to happen. Really, it is what it is. The guys they're doing their thing. Things are happening great for them, and they're rolling. So that's all I got to say about this one. But I think something's going to flip in Seattle coming up in the next couple of weeks.
What you mean by flip?
Flip the other way. Like they're not gonna look, because everybody high on them right now. Everybody's high on them right now. But in the next couple of weeks, I promise you, people are gonna be saying, this is not the team who we thought they were. That's how I think it's gonna flip.
So this was the first week I really watched Seattle, and I picked the best worst game to watch Seattle, because it was like it felt like vintage Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan against the Princeton Tigers, from college. Like this a cakewalk, right? So like offense goes down and scores, fumble recovery, touchdown. Offense goes and scores, defense, fumble recovery, touchdown again. Sam, dude. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 35 real quick. So when your quarterback 10 for 12 and you put up 44 points, like things broke your way. Um, I think you know, to what little solace I can give Arizona, they at least kept trying throughout the game, but they were overmatched, and then things did not break their way either. Um, yeah, Seattle. I mean, they 7-2. You are what your record is, and they 7-2. I don't. I They had a balanced running attack in this game. Of course, when you up that much, that's what you got to start doing. Um, but Sam Darnold looking good, very efficient, and yeah, we'll see how that breaks out. But for this divisional game, we did not get the upset that divisional games can sometimes give you. So
Yeah, typically I would try to balance this out by talking about the other team since you guys talked about Seattle. I have nothing to say about the Cardinals. Nothing. Absolutely nothing to say about them. Um, Seattle, though, and I think Lynx, you're spot on. Um, they're really good at beating bad teams. They are really good at beating bad teams. When you look at their schedule,
Hmm.
I mean, this is a powder cake set schedule, man. Week one, they lost against the Niners, right? Then they played Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh didn't have a defense. New Orleans, the Cardinals, lost against the Bucks. Then they had the Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans, Commanders, and then the Cardinals again. All right. Watching that game yesterday, I mean, 2 days ago, you saw they were up at 1.35, nothing. And then the Cardinals start to make a little bit of a run. And that thing that you're talking about, Lynx, when that defensive line started to get to Donald, you saw New York Jets Donald again. I mean, I'll never, the whole seeing ghost thing, it was all over again. The same situation that happened in the playoffs against the Rams, where he didn't know which way he was going. You started to see that. So that's the Achilles heel. If you get to Darnold with your front four, don't blitz. If you can get to him with your front four, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. So we'll see what happens the next couple of weeks. They do play the Rams next week. Then after that, they play the Titans. Okay. They play the Vikings after that. I'm curious to see what Flores is going to do.
Yep.
Right. And if there's one team that knows Donald,
yep, that'll be a good test.
The Vikings.
That'll be a good
the
test.
Vikings.
Yep.
But then after that, you got the Falcons.
Mm.
Right. Falcons might be able to pull that one out.
Which Falcons?
We'll see.
Yeah, which Falcons? Which Falcons?
We'll see. But and then you got the Colts, Rams, Panthers, and then they ended off with the Niners. So we'll see. They have a couple of hard game competitive games in there, but for the most part, they have a schedule for the way that they're built. They're gonna walk into the playoffs easily.
Oh yeah,
with the schedule.
Yeah. That's not gonna last long.
Yeah.
So all right, this next game ain't nothing I can really say. Detroit Lions 44, Commanders 22. I mean, Commanders really didn't have anybody. I mean, I know everybody's talking about, Marcus Mariota, came in and he 213 yards and whatever. Whatever. Um, yeah, I expected this to happen. This it's not a surprise. Detroit should have won this game. That's based on who they say they are. They should have won this game. So no surprise there for me. I'm not even going to belabor on this game really.
Only thing I gotta say about this, I don't know what grudge Dan Campbell has against Washington. Maybe he figured, Trump was going to be there and he wanted to make sure to get as much attention as he could for his team or something. Because he decided to take over the play calling.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the most subtle, no, I just want to change it up for the day. I still got faith in the OC. And, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And I mean, Gibbs 8. That running game was stout. And Goff had a really good game too. So whatever Dan Campbell was calling was working really well. I don't know if this was just this is what you're supposed to be doing with this offense. Let me show you myself to the OC. I didn't give it up next week. I don't know, but just really bad timing for Washington because they got done in really bad at home. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Campbell, just when I think he couldn't impress me more, I didn't know he had it in him to do that. And if he had called plays before, I totally missed it. But I mean, you have Gibbs and Montgomery, 15 rushing attempts apiece, right? Dead even, right? I mean, just perfect execution in terms of balancing the offense. Goff had 33 attempts, efficient, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think 75% completion percentage. They was humming. They were humming. So with that, I don't know if it's so much a grudge against the Commanders, and I know that was tongue in cheek, but there's certainly something going on internally between him and the offensive coordinator, where even though I mean, from the outside looking in, everything looks rosy, everything looks great. You got these coaches, and this is what make these coaches great. You got to execute it their way. It has to be a certain way, and it's not just their way for a reason. It has a purpose.
Yep.
That's the important part. It has a purpose for being executed their way. And if you're not doing it like that, they're going to either replace you or they're going to do it themselves. And in this situation, luckily for the offense, what's his name, Morton, the offensive coordinator, luckily he's not getting replaced yet. But obviously Campbell's like, this is how you do it. And that was a masterful exhibition of, just balanced offense dominating the other team. The other team is beat up. The other team is old, right? You got to take that into consideration as well. But this is a situation where you have a team that went in, they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah. Look, they did what they were supposed to do. It was the Commanders. It wasn't impressive. It is what it. That's what Goff is supposed to do. That's what they're supposed to do. Let's see what happened next week. Let's see what happened next.
I mean, hey, it ain't. I mean, it ain't the Bills, Dolphins.
Yeah,
it could have easily gone the other way, right? So
yeah. You're right about that. All right. So in this next game, Lee, your Rams, man. You was pissed off at them, man. You was pissed off. 42-26. Y'all did what you wanted them to do. So they listened to you, man. They listened to you. They did what they were supposed to do, and they finally put 49ers in their place in this game, man. It was an impressive game. Matthew Stafford is definitely on an MVP run right here, man. He's playing masterfully, playing really well. Receivers are balling. You guys look good. You guys look good, man. I mean, everything's clicking. And look, this was expected. Like you said, you wanted to see them come out and do what they were supposed to do, and they legitimately did that. So I was impressed by how it looked. Looked really good. Looked impressive. And for them to turn it on like how they turned it on, that's what championship teams do, man. So yeah, congrats on that.
Go ahead, Gus.
I'll let you go. I'll go last on this one.
No. So Stafford's just balling. I think first player in a long time, if ever, to throw 4 touchdowns and no interceptions in 3 straight games. And congrats to him for finally having a non-losing record. He's now 115, and 1 tie. So his time with the Rams making up for his time with Detroit, pre-Dan Campbell Detroit, right?
Yep.
the, this is going to sound weird. The Rams are one of the quietest 7-2 teams we've had in a long time. It's Stafford. The receivers are doing their thing. The running game complements. That defense is young and hungry, and they're complementing each other really well. And they're going to be a hard out going into the playoffs. They're going to be really hard out because Stafford's seen it all. You ain't tricking them on defense. So you're gonna have to beat the Rams to knock them out. So San Fran's starting to get a little bit healthier, but it's still a lot of folks on injured, non-injured reserve. But big win on the road for the Rams. So congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just asked them to do what they're supposed to do, right? And that's what they did. I'm always nervous when we play this team, and I have every right to be after what happened the first time we played them, with all the injuries they had, and they still did what they did. But it's nothing really to overly celebrate either, because of the fact that we were supposed to win this game, and we did it. I'm happy of how I'm more elated with the way we've been consistently playing for the last 4 games. Okay. I mean, I don't think I can't recall the last time I've watched the Rams, my team, play consistently for 3, 4, 5 games, and I'm not nervous, right? Like, they're going out there, they're executing, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They have complete control of the game, and they win. And not one time I'm like on pins and needles, like, oh, are we going to mess up? Oh, what's happening? They just do what they're supposed to do. Lunch pail, go to work, go home. So Stafford, yes, I think he's definitely on an MVP run. I think it's between probably him and Jonathan Taylor right now, which Jonathan Taylor should definitely get high consideration for MVP. Yeah, but yeah, if the Rams continue to stay healthy, I think we have a really good chance of making some noise in the playoffs, and maybe potentially, hopefully, get to the big game. And McVay, we talked about LaFleur with the Packers, and your offense getting stale over time, right? McVay broke out the 13 package. So you got your one running back, 3 tight ends, and I'm watching this thing, and it's a thing of beauty. He got the same formation, and you're doing multiple things out of it. So you got your 3 tight ends, you're running to the strong side, you got your 3 tight ends, you're motioning one to the side, you're passing the ball across the middle. Like, they're doing so many different things with it, and the defense is now trying to figure out, okay, how do we match up against this? Because all 3 of those tight ends can block and catch, run routes, and not just run routes, but I mean down the seam as well, right? So good on McVay. He's reinventing himself year after year, and that's what you have to do, right? To stay relevant, to stay ahead of the curve, to stay consistent with their with putting together a winning product. So that being said, man, I'm happy. We split it with the Niners, but on to the next one.
Yeah, good win, man. I definitely impressed with that. The Los Angeles Chargers 25, Pittsburgh Steelers 10. Pittsburgh couldn't do nothing, man. They couldn't do nothing in this game. I was impressed with the with the Chargers defense. They only the Pittsburgh Steelers scored 7 points in the 4th quarter. And look, I'm happy to see. Look, I like Mike Tomlin. I really do like Mike Tomlin, and I think he's a great coach. You just got the wrong quarterback, man. You just got the wrong quarterback. For some reason, like, I don't know what reason it is, but anyway, Aaron Rodgers. This dude just gets under my skin for some reason. I'm not even, Doc, I'm not even in your division, but for some reason he just gets under my skin. I don't know what it is. When I'm looking at him and I see him, sometimes he's just like he got this look on his face, like Like he's the
Smug.
heir of everything. Like he just
Smug.
like he yes, it just bothers me, man. It just bothers. And then when they do that little tush push. This dude got the nerve to just stand up with his hands on his hips and watching the whole thing go down. I'm like, come on, bro, come on. This is ridiculous here now. This is crazy. I mean, look. So anyway, yeah, I'm glad they lost. He needs to be gone out of the league, man. Just get out of the league. Mike Tomlin, just move on from this dude. Right? Because it's not. This is what you're gonna get. This is really what you're gonna get. I mean, it is what it is. Pittsburgh Steelers this year. They just need to revamp that. But Chargers, hey, 7-3, doing their thing. They're moving along, and this was expected. So hey, what can you say with this game?
Come on, hats off to the Chargers. Yeah, 7-3 in a competitive AFC West.
Mm.
They're Jim Harbaugh is going to try to run the ball and play some good defense, and they fed Vidal 25 times, 95 yards, so less than 4 yards a carry, but they stuck with the running game. McConkey had a good game, 4 for 107, and Justin Herbert is Justin Herbert, 20 for 33, 220 and one touchdown, no interceptions. But it's not your man, right? Your guy, right? But it's not him throwing the ball 45, 50 times, right? Like that's what they want. They need for the Chargers to be playing well. That running game, the carries needs to equal about the number of pass attempts. They don't need Herbert going 45 attempts, right? Like this is about getting to the upper edge of where they ideally want to be. But no, they held serve at home against Pittsburgh, and so I don't know if they're going to be able to keep this up, if Vidal's going to be able to carry 25 to 30 times a game, but it worked for them. It worked for them that night. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that this was a sure thing for the Chargers coming into this game. Let's not forget that this team is beat up, right? Yeah. From the beginning of the season, they lost their star left tackle. He was the highest paid left tackle in the league. Just got the contract. Slater, he's out. No worries. You got your first round pick from a year ago, Joe Alt, from the right side. Slot him over to the left. He's a stud himself. What happens? He goes out. Comes back, he goes out again. Your first round running back, he's out. So they got injuries across the board, and you have a Steelers team coming into this game, and they're coming off a high a really good defensive performance from last week, and seeming to be kind of putting the pieces together. And for the Chargers to come out and win this game, good job by Harbaugh and that crew, as well as Herbert. This was a really good win, and a needed win for them to stay at pace with the Chiefs, right? To make sure that they stay ahead of them and the Broncos. Right. So that's another really, really tough division. It's going to be very interesting to see how that kind of fleshes out. Really excited to see how that plays out. But with the Steelers, I don't know what your issues with Aaron Rodgers is. I mean, 3-time MVP, right? He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, potentially. So I don't know what he did to you guys, to the Eagles. I can understand if you were in the North, but Aaron Rodgers, I got nothing against Aaron. I think he's just older, and he's not, he's not a spring chicken anymore. Of course, he isn't as good as he's not in MVP form anymore, but he's much better than Pickett. He's better than Fields. He's better than Russ, right? He's playing better than those guys. Tomlin hasn't had a quarterback since Roethlisberger. This is his best chance since that time, and it still doesn't seem as if it's going to really flesh out because they're middling, right? And I don't know why they can't get it right. This team being known for being able to find good prospects and good players, to go this long without finding a guy to carry the torch since Roethlisberger left, that's a big problem. But outside of that, I think the Chargers they're going to continue to kind of eke out these kind of wins. But again, we'll see what happens when they come up against the Broncos and the Chiefs later in this season.
Yeah, somebody's going to be hurt in that division, real hurt. It's gonna be a stab wound kind of hurt in that division. It's gonna be tight. So yeah. All right. Monday night game, man. You had my Eagles, Green Bay Packers, 10-7. Look, this. I know a lot of people are saying, oh man, the Eagles needed to score, 40 points, or I saw Dallas Cowboy fans on message boards talking about, oh, y'all just scored 10 points against Green Bay. We scored 40 points against them. But what did you do? You tied them. You didn't win. You tied. I mean, that's the bottom line. The bottom line is either you win or you lose. You don't tie. I mean, that's not even a stat, right? So okay, I don't count them, man. I don't count them. I don't count them in my book.
It's in the third column.
I don't even count them, man. I can't even count them. Check this out, man. Look, this game is the kind of game that you could be proud of. The reason why you could be proud of these kinds of games is because it's the kind of games, and Emmanuel Acho said this earlier. The Eagles will beat you in the snow. The Eagles will beat you in the rain. The Eagles will beat you when it's frigid cold. The Eagles will beat you when it's hot. The Eagles will find a way. I don't care how it look. You don't have to score. Jalen Hurts will beat you with one throw. One. But the Eagles will find a way to win the game, man. So all these people with all these style points and stuff like that, I'm not worried about the style points. The only column that I'm worried about, with me and Jalen worrying about, is the W column. And as long as there's a notch in that W column, I don't care. I can care less how it look. I can care less. I don't. It don't need to be pretty. We don't need to be on no top 5. We don't need to be on nobody's list. I don't care. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, if you get the W, you could move through to the playoffs. You could make some noise in the playoffs and you do your thing. That's really all I care about, man. So with all the style point stuff and all of that, hey, I could care less. Now, I got one last point. One last point here. Okay, so the Green Bay Packers were the team at the beginning of the year to say, we don't like the tush push, man. We really don't like this. We need to outlaw this. They were the ones who put it in now. They were lobbying. But you decide to run the tush push. Not once, but twice. And guess what? You false start on both of them. Now, let's listen to this. Listen to this. You false start. They gave it to you the first time. Okay? Granted, look, the Eagles ran the tush push once. We false start too. Hey, look. So the ref said, okay, we gave them one. Boom, boom. Let's even it out. It's a done deal. We each gave them one. Right? And hey, look, I'll tell you this for a fact. I'm not a homer. I look at it and I say, yeah, we false starting. We getting off that line, and these dudes false starting. I see it, yes, I see it. But hey, if you don't call it, you don't call it. But look, a spade was a spade. We both was even. But then the Green Bay Packers decide to run it again. And they get called for the false start. And as soon as that happens, this is the narrative. This is the narrative of ESPN. As soon as that happens, ESPN posts out there, this is disgusting. This is ridiculous. The Eagles are false starting on. Did you not see 2 false starts from Green Bay? The only narrative y'all saw was the Philadelphia Eagles false starting in this game? Come on, man. Come on. This is just gone too far. ESPN, FS1, CBS Sports, All of y'all, get off the Eagles' jock, man, with this stuff. Y'all just going overboard with it, man. I know it's easy. It's easy to really like get on the bandwagon and keep going with this. But the refs evened it out. The refs evened it out, and it is what it is. So stop doing this. Stop doing this. My Eagles 10-7. Look, it was a gritty game. I like to see these kind of games. It was gritty. It was down to the wire. But again, Jordan Love is, you know, he's and I said this all along with Green Bay. They just weren't there. They're not elite. They're not an elite team to figure out a way how to win the game. Don't get me wrong, their defense was balling. They were playing their DBs, they were balling out. They were playing some ball. Micah Parsons was getting some pressure. He was doing some things, you know, didn't get home, but he was getting there. And the defense was they were right there. They were right there. Their defense played good. But like I said, man, it don't matter. We always find a way to get a W. So we'll see. We got another one coming up next week. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, I digress.
So when this week started Thursday night, it was a 10-7 game. Denver Broncos and Las Vegas Raiders, and folks called it a snooze fest and can't watch it, right? And then to end the week, we got the Eagles and the Packers 10-7, and it's a gritty performance. It's a defense dominated contest. Yeah, you know, you're a little biased. You're a little biased still. I will say,
if little is the Grand Canyon, then yeah, you could say.
Come on.
I must say though, because and as a Vikings fan, thank you for winning the gritty performance.
Welcome.
So I had forgotten how much disdain the Eagles have for the Packers for trying to get rid of the tush push. So like, welcome to the club, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is funny, besides them running the tush push, is the whole issue with the tush push is everyone knows it's coming, but they can't stop it. And the irony is, on the 4th and 1, the Packers line up in a shotgun, and the Eagles know what's coming. Inside zone, my side. Inside zone, my side. And your boys them completely abandon the play. Your boy try to bounce it to the outside. They don't change the play, and that pretty much ices the game, pretty much. But it's just really funny, given the fact that the Packers don't like the tush push because they know what's coming and they can't stop it. And then they run the play, and the defense knows what's coming. They're like, oh, we don't know what to do. So, yeah, I'll be nice and leave it like that. But thank you. Thank
Welcome,
you.
man.
Yeah, yeah, much appreciated.
You say, boy, Lynx, you something else, man. I don't even know where to start. So let me see. What'd you say? Hurts could beat you with one throw, right?
However, man,
He could beat you with one throw.
one throw,
Just one.
one.
That's all he got. All he got is one throw. That's all he got is one throw.
Stop it, man. Stop
Right?
this,
That's
man.
all he got. That's all he got. Right? One throw a game. That's all he got. Right?
Stop it, man.
So you got that. You say you don't care about style points.
No, man.
Right?
Get him on the
Because
foul.
there ain't no style points to be had. Y'all ain't got no style. Like ain't nothing there, right? So of course you would say that. I understand that too. We'll see what happens next week. And
Next
see
week.
what happens if style points is going to come into effect, or if you're going to need style points against that team next week. That's going to be an interesting game to watch, right?
Yeah.
But that aside, man, this was an ugly game. This was not a good game. It was an ugly game with two teams where you expect to see some sort of offensive, charisma, right? Both teams fell flat, right? you guys got two top flight receivers. You got Saquon Barkley, where it seemed that he had a spark on that dump off where he made my man look silly,
Yeah,
right? And then he scampered for like 30, 40 yards, something like that before he got caught up. But I still don't understand what's going on with Barkley. Someone needs to explain to me why he can't he's not making those plays anymore. I don't get it. But and then on the Packers side, we talked about that ad nauseum, where it just seems as if that LaFleur just can't get that offense going. However, we would be remiss not to bring up the fact that their offensive line is decimated. They're down 3 receivers and a tight end, right? So there's a lot of missing pieces on that offensive side of the ball. That being said, Eagles find a way to win. Kudos, right? Because Jalen Hurts, the one quarterback that lacks any kind of style. And then the one head coach that has absolutely no style, where his MO is the bungie play, right? Because that's all they doing. And so he got to hang his hat on that one tush push. He has nothing else in his repertoire. He brings nothing else to the table, right? From an X's and O's perspective, except that one play. It's you guys got Detroit, Dallas, Chicago, and the Chargers, right? Those are going to be some pretty good games to watch. We'll see. But good win.
Yeah.
Good win.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
win.
yeah.
Good win.
Yeah. Check this out. Real quick.
Yeah.
You remember at the beginning of the season,
Yeah.
what did everybody say with the first 5 games? Eagles wasn't going to win. They said Eagles was going to lose 3 out of the 4, 5, all these games at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? There's not going to be any difference, man. In these next 4 games, I have the confidence in this team, especially on the defensive end. They will pull it out. I trust this team that much that they will pull it out. They'll find a way. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that and get that. But it's interesting. I like the schedule. So it's coming. So coming up, man, on Thursday, we got the Jets and the Patriots. This is a division game, okay? So again, a division game. Aaron Glenn is coming in to the Patriots. And look, this. Let me say that. Let me think about this before I say this. This may be. Yeah, it's Thursday.
It's a Thursday game.
Yes. Well, this is going to be my upset special. This is going to be my upset special. The Jets against the Patriots. I'm rolling. I'm rolling with Aaron Glenn. I'm rolling with the Jets in this game. Without Sauce, without Williams, without Justin Fields throwing for 57 yards. It may seem unbelievable. But I'm going with the Jets. This is my upset special for this week, man.
I'm looking at the Patriots schedule, right? And if they was playing the Bills or the Ravens next week, I would have been like, yeah, man, this is a classic trap game. Classic trap game. But they playing the Jets and then they playing the Bengals. And then they playing the Giants before they get to the Bills. That's too much of a gap for this to be a trap game. So I got to go with the Patriots. It's going to be closer because it's a divisional game. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be the classic trap game. If they were, like I said, they was playing. If it wasn't the Bengals, the week after, were they looking ahead? But they go. Yeah, they'll deal with the Jets on Thursday. So.
Yeah, I like the upset call. Thanks. I like the upset call. I think that would really be a good one. And this would be the time to pick that upset on a Thursday game because we've seen some crazy things happen on Thursday. Thursday night
After the
football.
big game against the Bucks. Yep.
Right. But I think the Patriots are just too well put together right now to have that big of a letdown. And seeing that how the Jets, they're still not clicking on offense. Your quarterback throwing for 50 yards, right? I don't see the Patriots losing this game. I'm going to go with the Patriots to win.
Patriots. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see. We're gonna jump back on Thursday, right? So during this game, we'll jump back on and make our picks for the week, and get that rolling and get that in. So we'll just pay attention to this game as it's going on. But yeah, I'm a good one, man. So we'll get ready for that one on Thursday and see you guys at that time, man. All right.
All right.
Later.
All right. Later.